Hi guys, welcome to Eau Poetique and welcome to the video. So today we're going to do a swatch video and I am really excited about it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so I feel like on the channel it's become a little bit of a tradition to start a new or kind of create a new palette every year that kind of looks at what's new on the market, what's available, and yeah, just something really nice. So in this video I was trying to see if Millie would come inside, but she did want to, but she didn't want to. So anyway, yeah, so in this video we are looking at this really gorgeous new palette. So here it is a walnut palette. The whole thing is just from one block of wood. It's really beautiful. This is a 60 half pan palette, so it holds quite a lot of colors here, and I have just been kind of pottering around trying to figure this out for the last probably month. What to put in there, how to sort of fit everything in that I wanted to use. I want this kind of as a studio palette for when I'm like doing larger paintings and things, that I can have quite a lot of these colors in the same palette, so I don't have to be kind of having, you know, several palettes open on my desk. So this was kind of the book that I started swatching in. I have been really loving swatching in here. You can also see the last few videos we've talked a little bit about this palette, putting it together, things that I look at as far as what I want from colors that I put in there, and things that you may want to look at for your palettes depending on what you need from the watercolors. So yeah, I've done videos on that because I think, you know, we all use watercolor slightly differently. We all want to paint slightly differently, so that can be reflected in the colors that you choose. So I do have a whole video on that and what you might look for when you're putting together a palette. But yeah, so that was the first time I kind of swatched out what I had in there, and then I kind of changed everything around. I did another swatch sheet, and I think I did that 3 or 4 times. You can see here number 3. So yeah, I wasn't keen on that. But what I was doing as well, kind of while I was fiddling around with the palette, I was looking at the colors and swatching them. I've been really enjoying swatching things side by side like this. Almost, yeah, so just really enjoying that and kind of checking, do I have the colors there that I want? You can see here, I really wanted to be able to fit all of these colors in full pans, because they are kind of colors that I almost like staples in my palette. So a lot of the other colors are for accents, and those are particularly colors that I really rely heavily on. So I kind of knew what colors I needed, like I had to have in there. And then there was kind of room for some kind of colors to play with and to accent with. So I got some new kind of colors. I had some in my stash that I had been kind of waiting for a palette like this, but you can see here there is still overflow. So I've put those into this little Schmincke palette, and I think this is one we'll swatch over December. I want to try and do yeah, a little bit more in December, but you can see here this has 3 hinges, and I would love a palette that has 4 hinges or 5 hinges, the same width, so it's not any like wider, but just a longer palette so that we could fit like a lot of more colors in. I've been dreaming of a palette like that, so Blue Star, if you're listening, that would be amazing. But you could see, so it could kind of go up the side of the desk there, and you could yeah, just fit. I found like I had to kind of keep restricting myself. Like I could easily have fit double the amount of colors in. I really love the textures and the different qualities of the colors. So it's not always just about mixing, but a lot of the different pigments will bring something different to the table. So I really love that. The other thing that I wanted to show you here, this is a Schmincke pastel palette. I think this is the 30 pastels. It's the second smallest size. And probably seven-ish years ago, I got this one and I was collecting colors. And I started out just with the kind of 48 colors. I only had like maybe less than 36 in there. And then I just kept adding and adding to this box. And you can see it holds like a lot more colors, but it's a really good way to, if you have a larger collection and you are wanting to kind of get that all into one place. You can see I had this little ceramic dish that I found just at like my local supermarket or something, like a farmer's market kind of a shop. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. You can see here how well loved and well used this palette was. And then I think it got to the point where I realized I wasn't using some of these colors, but I might want to use them in the future. So I didn't kind of just want to waste them. So I kind of saved the palette. And at that stage, I kind of pared down to just my favorite kind of colors that I was just using mostly. But what I do here is I usually take these inserts out. So like this is the Schmincke kind of 12 half pan palette. So I'll take that insert out and like I'll put that in the box to hold those colors. But in the little actual palette here, I can fit a lot more than 12 colors if I take the insert out. So yeah, so then this little Schmincke palette becomes kind of a complement to the larger palette here. So yeah, let's just get into swatching it. First of all, I'm wetting everything. I'm just going to wet like a few at a time. We'll kind of start with the pink, so I'll wet those. But I love doing this, and you'll see me do this a lot in the videos. I think it's really helpful. Yeah. Okay, so this first one is Begonia by Little Reverie Studio. So I'll list these all below in the order that we swatched them. I was debating between this one and Azalea from Nibs Watercolors. This one is a little bit more opaque. It's got a little bit of white in it, I think. And the other one is just more of a hot pink. So I feel like I might switch these out depending on what paintings I'm doing. This one here is Peach Pop. This is also by Little Reverie Studio. I know you guys love this one as well. So these two aren't light fast, but I think I showed in maybe 2 videos ago the one where it says putting together a palette. Kind of how I deal with non-light fast colors and kind of adding them over the top. This one here is Mushroom. It's a beautiful shimmer by KjDesignsby Karen, I think, and her colors re-wet so beautifully. And then this one is a new shop to me. This is MABwatercolors, and this one here I think is called Northern Lights. So it's more like a glitter that you would either mix with other colors or put on the top. So once your watercolors have dried, you can put that over as a glaze in certain areas to give a little bit of shimmer. This is also a really beautiful one. This is called Bezel by KjDesignsby Karen. It is, yeah, really, really stunning. It's kind of like an antique silver. So the next one here is the new version of Cinabrese by Wallace Seymour. So they are a company in the UK that makes, they're called vintage watercolors. They're really beautiful. They used to make, this colour used to be a little bit more peachy, and I've been meaning to message them and ask them if they ever plan to put that out there, because I really loved it. It was one of my favourites. This one here is again from this new shop, MABwatercolors. This is Jupiter, I think. You can see it's a beautiful kind of glittery one. it actually might be called Mars. It's from the Earth, the Planet series. Anyway, I'll list it below. I think it could be Mars. So this one is the Kremer Pigments Incarnate number 1. This one is more like what the Chinabressa used to be. Just a really pretty kind of soft blush color. This one here is, let's see, Isaro Watercolors. This is her powder pink. So it's a really beautiful kind of like mixing a quinacridone type pink with a buff titanium. Yeah, just really lovely. Then this one here is kind of a similar color, but this one is the Kremer pink color. So it's kind of like a potter's pink. I really like the Winsor Newton potter's pink and the Roman Schmalz one as well. They would be similar to this. Yep. This one is, let's see, this is by JuliaK Art Studio. That is her header. So again, a really beautiful kind of sparkly color. And again, you can see what I mean with these colors that are accents. So I like to kind of paint with the other kind of more muted colors, and then I like to add these things in as accents and that little bit of surprise shimmer on the painting. Okay, this is one that I make. This is real jade, the jade stone, and like a pearlescent white shimmer. You can also make something like this with like the Winsor Newton Davies grey and the Daniel Smith pearlescent white. So it's just a really soft, beautiful kind of shimmer. This one here is the Daniel Smith pearlescent white. So this is really useful and versatile to be able to make any colour in your palette a shimmer colour. I especially love mixing it with Potter's Pink. You get such a beautiful kind of champagne colour. Really stunning. Okay, this is my first Michael Harding watercolour. This is Warm White. I really enjoy this one. Mixing it for sunsets and things like that as well. But some of you guys have been collecting his watercolors for a while. I only just found these recently on Jackson's. So if you have any favorite brands or anything, please leave them in the comments. We would all love to hear about those. Favorite colors, favorite brands. This one here is from Greenleaf and Blueberry. This is the Barite White. So Barite, and it's kind of like a white, it's like kind of like a grey white. This one is also Greenleaf and Blueberry. This is their French Grey Earth. So it's kind of like a very muted olive brown kind of colour. This one is Schmincke, and it is from their new Naturals range. So this is Style de Gran, and a really just beautiful kind of like a mustard colour. Yeah, I've really enjoyed these new colours. I'm not sure exactly how light fast that one is actually, now that I think about it. This one is again one that I made in a very limited batch. This was kyanite, and yeah, I can't really get any more of this pigment, but I like to just have a little bit of this to sprinkle into paintings. So this one is Daniel Smith German greenish raw umber. Just a beautiful kind of deeper olive ground, and I find this really useful in landscapes, but also just to kind of almost using it as a neutral, so kind of to tone down some of those pinks a little bit, to neutralize them a little bit. This one is one that I collabed with Nibs Watercolors maybe a couple of years ago now, and she made the perfect mint green kind of to my specifications. I really, really love this color. I have not had this in a palette that I have been using because I have just been afraid of wasting it. I do go through a lot of color, you know, while I'm kind of painting and using them on the channel. So I have been quite concerned to just have it there for when I needed it, but she's recently made some more, so I was able to get some of that and just being really happy to have that in this palette. This one is the Wallace Seymour Citadella Grey Schist. You could also mix this with just a tiny bit of a blue and get something like the Kyanite one. This one is, let's see, this is another one of the Schmincke Naturals ones. So this is the Celadonite. And again, a very soft, you can see a lot of my colours are quite soft, and I do talk about that in the kind of how to pick your palette video. But yeah, this one is one of my first favourites from Daniel Smith. I still love it. This is Fuchsite. So it's kind of like this minty, it's almost turquoise. It leans still a little bit more green, and it's got a sparkle in it. But you can see the one that I made with Nibs, that's the Meadow before that one. So it's got more of that kind of minty quality. This one here is Schmincke Perylene Green. So just a beautiful dark, really kind of rich dark green, and again, so useful for landscapes. I feel like when you find a colour that you really enjoy, it's helpful to kind of try that colour in a few different brands, because you might find like a slightly different kind of way that one works from a different brand that you prefer. So yeah, I think that's quite helpful. And then this one here is the Daniel Smith Terra Vert. This is kind of like a Viridian, so like more of a brighter green with like a deeper, darker brown. But whatever they've kind of used, it's a really nice mix, and you can see it's kind of this mid-tone green. It's not too bright. It's just a really beautiful one. It's got sort of a slight bit of granulation. This one is kind of looks a little bit similar in this lighting here, but it is more on the turquoise side. So this is Duochrome, Daniel Smith Duochrome Aquamarine. And yeah, again, it's got kind of this like tropical vibe to it. It's really pretty. Okay, this one is from Beam Paints. This is their Glacial Rivers, I think. I have been wanting to have this in a palette for quite a while, so I'm really happy about that. This one here is another one of the ones that I made with Nibs. This is, I think she called this one Love in a Mist. So they're named after flowers. And yeah, it's this beautiful kind of cornflower blue. It's just the prettiest shade. So, and these also have a little bit of a sparkle in them. It's another one I'm really happy to have in the palette. I have now a backup, and then I can kind of feel comfortable to use the ones in the palette as much as I want. So that's really nice. So this one here is the Greenleaf and Blueberry. This is Smalt. I'm pretty sure this is Smalt. This is a really, really beautiful one from her. I really love her deep kind of blues. This one here is Vivianite from Greenleaf and Blueberry as well. Australian Vivianite. So it's kind of like a deep kind of blue-black, like a really deep navy. And Stone Ground Paint also makes a really beautiful Vivianite as well. It's one of the reasons why I would love to have this as a larger palette, because there's so many beautiful colours out there, and I can only fit so many in a palette like this. So, but yeah, Stone Ground Paint also has really beautiful colours. So this one here is the Gallo Zirconium Blue. So it's kind of like a cerulean blue, just again a really pretty one, a nice kind of sky blue. It mixes well with a lot of things if you need that kind of mid blue, and it's got a little bit of granulation in it as well. So it's just quite a nice colour. So what I did here is I kind of ran out of room to be able to put 2 more rows underneath. So I've just cut a little bit of paper, and you can see this paper is, which one is it? It's, anyway, I'll link it below, but it's more white than the Arches one. So again, clean water, so it's a new day here for filming. But this one was the Isaro Rose, and this one is the Kremer Pigments. So Greenleaf and Blueberry have been making a rosaline of this color as well, which is, yeah, it's just a really lovely kind of soft pink. You can see I am getting, I have little black fuzzies everywhere. I'm sorry about that, from just the jumper. And this one here is the orange, Pyrrole Orange from Daniel Smith. Again, just a really nice, kind of a bright color that I can mute in a lot of different ways. And you can see I just realized that I forgot to, this one here is the Winsor Newton cadmium free lemon yellow, which again, like the orange, is a very saturated color, like high tinting strength, so you only need a little tiny bit. Time for a fruit break. So yeah, this one here is one of the other new Schmincke Naturals ones. This is Lalvarite Violet. So again, a beautiful soft kind of subtle version of a violet earth, or like a Mars violet, something like that. What was I going to say? The one in between the orange and the yellow that I didn't swatch is the Holbein Jamboree number 2. So, and then this one here is the Greenleaf and Blueberry Swiss Violet Earth. So again, I love her colors for the actual grains, that actual like granular texture that they provide, and it helps to kind of give such a lot to the painting in quite a short period of time. This one here is the Daniel Smith Sedona. So this is kind of like a pink leaning burnt sienna, quite a beautiful one. This one is the Daniel Smith French Ochre, and I'm sure you've heard this quite a few times before, but I love this one because it is so transparent. It's not a heavy ochre, and so it becomes really useful for mixing with so many things. This one is Blue John from Wallace Seymour. So it's quite a beautiful, and again, quite a soft grey. So quite often I'll either want to mix some of the brighter colours with a neutral, or with like a grey, like one of these two. So this one here is the Ocean Paper, and it's their Silk Grey. So a more opaque version, a little bit more, they say the Blue John is kind of a lilac leaning grey, and then the Ocean Paper one is even a little bit more lilac leaning than that. So they're quite nice to have in the, yeah, kind of in the mix with everything. And then this one is, oh yeah, this is from JuliaK Studio, and this is Victor. So it's just a beautiful kind of chartreuse green with a little bit of sparkle. So some of these, like this one, are quite new, so I'm still getting used to them. But this one you could mix something like a Daniel Smith green gold with a little bit of pearlescent white, and you would get something like this as well. So I really like just having that kind of in the palette as kind of a surprise, kind of like you've got the ones above it that are a little bit more muted and earthly, and then you've got this kind of bright modern pop to it as well. This one is also JuliaK, and this one is Wendella. So it's kind of like a muted purple with a sparkle. And then this one is Daniel Smith Burnt Tiger's Eye. So I really have been enjoying this one. It's kind of a mid-tone granulating brown. Yeah, I just really like it. It's very useful for landscapes, and yeah, It's got quite a nice tone to it. It mixes well with everything. So yeah, this one is the Kremer Pigments Violet Iron Glimmer. So again, kind of this violet, kind of violet earth, like a violet brown. You can mix something like this by adding a slight bit of purple to a brown. And then this one is from Greenleaf and Blueberry as well. This is their South Africa Chromite. So this is kind of like a sepia or like a Van Dyke brown. It's just a really deep, dark, kind of moody brown. It's a really nice one. It has quite a heavy granulation. It's quite nice. So this one is also from MABwatercolors. I think this one is Jupiter, and the more pink version of this is Mars. Is Mars. But this one, yeah, they're both from their Planet series. And this one is from Nibs. This is her Copenhagen. Again, a really beautiful one. Yeah, kind of like a cobalt violet with an interference blue, but I love the texture of her paints. And so this one is Madrid, also from Nibs. It's pretty similar to kind of one of my favorite mixes, the Potter's Pink and Pearl White. But yeah, again, just a beautiful one. This one is one that I made, and I need to kind of top this up, but this is the Isaro Ultramarine Pink mixed with the Michael Harding Warm White. So it creates this really kind of beautiful, kind of a muted lilac colour. This one is, let's see, Daniel Smith Purpurite. So this has been one of my top favourite colours the last year. I'd say I've been really, really enjoying it. I got this and then I didn't use it for quite a few years, and then just started kind of thinking about it and wanted to see if I could add it back in, and yeah, I've been really, really loving it. So we only have one more left to go, and it is the Wallace Seymour Shimmer Iron Glimmer. So I have been using this for a long time. I really love it. It is a black with a kind of like a natural mica in it, and it's just a really, really beautiful, beautiful one. So you can see some old favourites, some new favourites, and yeah, I'll see how this goes, and some of these may be swapped out. I don't know how much I'm going to show this palette. Like, it's not probably going to be my every video one on the channel. I'm going to use this more for like when I'm doing larger paintings. Actually, thinking about it, I really want to do some larger paintings next year and maybe do some classes just with one painting. Yeah, and I'd like to also do a little bit of some advent calendar videos over December, so we'll see how that goes. You can see this is really the only painting outside of what I've needed to do for the course in the last couple of weeks. I have almost finished the course, so it will be up and available, I think, November 23rd. I'm also just showing you here, I have a daylight bulb just in a cheap lamp from Target, and it really helps to make the colours sort of come to life. So yeah. So the last thing I want to show you here is just a little bit of the course that's coming out in 2 weeks that we will be doing, and it will be 75% off for the first 24 hours, just to say thank you. And I have really appreciated it. I have been filming the last, I've really appreciated all the support from you guys over the last years, and such beautiful comments that you leave. I've been filming kind of the first parts of the course, which is a little bit of like the compositional rules that I really follow, like the rule of thirds, not just vertically and horizontally, but also diagonally. And we kind of talk a little bit about kind of why and some of my favorite tips and techniques and, you know, painting different things. Also, like the value of a painting and kind of how and why to, you know, choose subjects and what to think about as you're creating paintings. But we go through and paint thumbnails, and it's a really in-depth look at my process. I think when I am painting for YouTube, I skip out, maybe 70% of the actual painting process. So this goes through everything. We talk about how and why I, choose palettes, and even like we're adding just some glitter. We've made it into a paint there, and we're adding that on. So I wanted to do landscapes because we're going to do some pretty in-depth classes next year, like maybe some French interiors with gilded landscapes on the walls, or like my Louis settees that the kind of Rococo inspired ones that I paint, and maybe a large one of those with like a landscape tapestry. So I feel like this is, and also I do get a lot of requests for portrait ones. So this is kind of, I feel like, a really nice place to start and get really comfortable and familiar with painting techniques. You know, it's not going to matter if the tree is a half an inch to the left, but it would matter if it was a nose, I guess. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next week. Bye.